So I live in New York City, and right now people are protesting up and down in Brooklyn after somebody was arrested for just jumping the fare in the New York subway system, which I guess perhaps isn't that shocking since there have been signs all over the New York subway system saying they're going to crack down on fare hopping. And the fact that somebody got arrested maybe is inevitable. Right or wrong. But my problem isn't with the New York City trying to crack down on people evading fares or people trying to evade fares. My issue is how this story has been reported, because the situation's a little more nuanced than you might see on Facebook. So now this news ran on Twitter. The video with the headline, I'm going to read it right off my computer. Footage shows this unarmed black teenager being tackled to the ground and violently arrested by NYPD officers for allegedly evading the $2.75 subway fare. And then we can watch the video here. So we can see just a stormtrooper amount of police flood into the subway car and arrest this guy. I guess because he hopped over the turnstile. Police said they followed the 19-year-old Adrian Napier into the subway. Okay, so here we get a little bit of context. Because a witness told them Napier had a gun. Okay, so here we have a kind of key part that we'll circle back to, but it's more than just evading the fare then at this point, because now the police are under the impression that the suspect is armed. During the pursuit, Napier allegedly snuck past the turnstile. Well, was he being pursued prior to him breaking the law and jumping over the turnstile, or were the police pursuing him after he jumped the turnstile? Was that the initial cause of detention? The reason why police would detain an individual like Napier. If you're wondering, just by and by, what this normally looks like, when you hop a turnstile and the NYPD catches you, they simply detain you and write you a $100 ticket. It happens to everybody. It happens to teenage white girls, happens to black guys, happens to Asians with their shopping carts. They're pretty indiscriminate in who they give these $100 tickets to. I have seen many a drunk, basic individual just start crying and freaking out because they thought they could get away with hopping the turnstile. But let's keep watching this video. So Napier got into a train car. And okay, they run and they grab him here. This is the footage. Wow, a group of officers tackle Napier to the ground and cuffed him, but didn't find a gun. Right, okay, so that's basically the video. And already I have a few issues, I guess, with the headline. And the headline claims that he was essentially tackled and arrested for evading the $2.75 fare. Now, whether you think people should be arrested for evading fares or detained for evading fares, I think this is an argument about how much money is lost to the New York City subway system. You get into philosophical ideas about the tragedy of the commons, but I don't really care. If he doesn't have the money to hop the fare, I'll go for it. It's not going to faze me at all. It does not bother me when people hop the fare, and I always pay for the fare. My issue with this video is that you'll notice at the very beginning of the video, they've actually edited it. So they start with the police storming right in. And the original video here shows there's quite a little bit of lead up to when the police actually get onto the train car. I think this lead up is important context because the NYPD is massive and is large and is a cartel as they can seem, aren't stupid, and they're well aware of the city that they operate in New York City, and the liberal mind that most New Yorkers have. So this example where the guy realizes and people start to clear out, it's because the police have called him back up. Now, they're not going to call him back up unless they believe that the suspect is armed. I have seen people, as I said, get busted for fare evasion all the time. It's just two officers. They detain him. They write him a ticket. That's it. There's no reason to call in 20 officers to arrest an individual and arrest him, not just detain him, unless they legitimately believed, I would imagine, that he is indeed carrying a firearm, which is basically entirely illegal in New York City, because as you can see, it's a New York City subway car crowded full of people. And the NYPD are aware of this too. They wouldn't draw their guns underneath, in the subway station full of individuals unless they felt like perhaps the suspect was a threat to himself or others. This is just a dangerous situation all around. And when they do get into the subway cars, as you can see here, yes, it's assertive and arguably aggressive, but they're not kicking him, they're not punching him. The guy gave himself up peacefully, and that's the end of the story. And the fact that what's promulgated is the idea that the NYPD violently arrested this individual for hopping the fare, I don't think is likely. I think what is likely is that he hopped the fare, the police tried to detain him, he fled, he's then fleeing the police officer. Okay, so hops the fare, they try to detain him, these two officers. He flees, he's now fleeing an officer, which is a crime. At this point, somebody then says, I think I saw a gun on him, as they walk by the police. The police now have three things. So, he broke the law, he's fleeing the officers, and they've just been told he might be possibly armed, in which case they are going to call in a lot of other officers. And you can see how the situation turned out. It was a high tense situation. But the fact that they arrested him for the fare like this, I find unlikely and the video unconvincing. So that's my real problem. Regarding the protests away. That's how things are settled in the United States. Whether we want to crack down on fare evasion or not. Because sometimes when we do, inevitable edge cases occur like this that can be upsetting to anybody who sees them. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully you found this a little more nuanced, and you can see how news companies can edit videos or glaze over important facts that would otherwise perhaps give us, both New Yorkers and people around the country, a little more context into what's occurring and whether it's worth protesting or not. Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.